What's up guys, welcome to the garage. Today we've got a review for Banggood. This is the Hobby Plus and it's the CR-24 and it's a 1/24 scale crawler. Very similar to the RGT Adventurer, which I've done a review of that. There's a link up here somewhere for that review. And it's also very similar to the FTX Outback Mini as well. So we'll get it out of the box in a minute. We'll actually put it next to the RGT and we'll look at the similarities between it. Anyway, what interests me on this one, which is slightly different to the others, actually says waterproof on the box. That's good. 2.4 gig, 600 milliamp hour Lipo, single cell, 4-wheel drive, FPV ready. That's interesting. And 100% ready to run. I'm not sure if that means it includes the transmitter batteries, but we shall find out. Also gives you quite a nice bit of information on the back, which is good to see. So ladder frame chassis design, chassis mounted servo with high clearance spindle. Says new transmission system, and it's got 104:1 high torque design, full-time four-wheel drive, multi-link suspension. Internal beadlock system, high performance coil shocks. These are going to be friction rather than oil. 1 kilogram waterproof servo, 3.7 volt Lipo. It says up to 45 minutes runtime, and it says new developed and designed MT tyre. Detail aggressive thread design. Anyway, let's get this thing out of the box and have a look at it. So in the box you've got your instructions, you've got your little hex tool there, and a screwdriver. You've got this really nice transmitter that's got your throttle and steering trim on there. It's got trim and it also says DR for dual rate. So I don't know what they do. I'm guessing the steering trim is for the steering trim. We'll see whether the throttle lowers it. It's more likely to be the throttle trim. You've got a third channel there as well. I'll look at the instructions in a bit and see if that does anything. And you've got reverse switch, and then you've got your on and off there. So it takes 4, I think it's AAs, or it might be AAAs, and they go, it's a bit weird. That slides off like that. And then the batteries pop in the top there. So I guess it's to stop them from falling out maybe when you're going along. So it comes with a USB charger. I'm just charging the battery up at the moment. But in this box, there was also another Lipo. I didn't look on Banggood to see if it actually said it came with 2 Lipos, but if one gives you 45 minutes, then we've got an hour and a half of runtime with this, which is good for if you're out and about. So yeah, 2 batteries. And here's the truck. Really nice looking Land Rover Defender pickup. And you've got your little external roll cage there, 5th wheel on the back, and it looks all right. So this comes in 2 colours, and then there's also 2 other designs. Not too keen on the other designs, or in fact I think there's 3 designs now, but when this was offered to me for review there was only 2, but I'm sure there's another one that's come out now. But really nice little truck. Suspension feels pretty good. Quite a bit of flex, although the tyres they're touching the body there, so they may need to adjust the height of the body on this to get complete clearance. Same with the back. Underneath you've got your multi-link suspension on that aluminium ladder frame there, and like I mentioned, looks very much like the RGT Adventurer and the FTX Outback, but there's some slight differences that I've already seen, but we'll talk about them in a bit. But overall, the look of it, I really like it. I think the wheels look nice, nothing too crazy, nice simple design, but I think it works well. Let's take the body off and let's have a look at the chassis. So underneath, that's the setup underneath. You've got your waterproof servo on the chassis there. You've got your waterproof ESC and receiver that sits there. And then you've got your little motor and your gearbox within here. And then at the back, you've got your 1S Lipo sat neatly in a little tray there. And it's got front and rear LEDs. So looking at it like that, if you didn't have an Outback or the Adventurer next to it, you'd say it looks exactly the same. However, if I get the, let me get the Adventurer. So you got the CR-24 on the bottom, and the RGT on the top. So they are very similar. The chassis are, they're not exactly the same actually. There is some difference. The chassis on this has got a brushed sort of alloy look about it, and there's a few different mounting holes on it, and it's a bit more squared off. You'll also notice, which I think is going to be a good thing, the weight distribution on this CR-24 looks a little bit better. The problem with the Adventurer was the battery's sitting on the back, and you've got the ESC on the back. When you're trying to go up an incline, it's the front wheels come up quite easy, whereas on this one you've got the battery sat more central and lower down, and you've got your ESC a little bit further over the front wheels. It also looks like the gearbox is slightly lower. So just looking at the chassis design, this C24 looks like it's done a little bit of a better job of spreading that weight out. Other than that, they're pretty similar. Different tyre design. Wheelbase is exactly the same. Suspension looks exactly the same, as do the axles and all the linkages and stuff like that. So we switched it on. Got your fully proportional steering. It does suffer slightly. It's got a bit too much throw on it, so when it goes that way, you can see it does pull it up a little bit, but I'm sure that won't cause much of a problem. So decent steering, not overly quick, but you don't need it to be rapid on a little crawler. And then the throttle, now without putting this next to the RGT, I think there's a little bit more control over this throttle. So you got really slow, and then that's full throttle. I just think there's a bit more control. Anyway, without putting it next to the RGT or Outback, I'm not sure, but I think this is geared slightly better, but we'll find that out when we take it out for a little run. Anyway, let's get the battery charged fully. Let's get the body shell back on, and we'll take it out and give it a little run. And I will definitely do the this versus the RGT Adventurer, and we'll take it on a little course and see which one comes out better. But this definitely, the weight distribution looks good on that compared to the RGT. So got it out for a quick run today. Didn't really get it on anything as technical as I wanted to really test it out, but I did get it on a few different terrains. So got it on some loose dirt, and this first bit is actually quite steep on this hill. You can probably just about tell on the video, but this is quite a steep hill, and climbing up the hill, and it done all right because it's so light. It gets across that loose dirt no problem, and it does get over the roots of the tree and over the bits and pieces with no problems at all. The throttle is definitely a little bit better than the RGT that I've got. It's still a little bit twitchy now and then, but once you get used to it, it's definitely got better throttle control. So it's lower geared, which makes it a little bit easier over this terrain. It does bottom out a few times, but the size of it, it's only a little 1/24 scale, so any little stones and stuff that go underneath it, it does get caught up a little bit. However, it's got the torque to pull itself out of most things. And then I tested it out in the water as well, made sure it is waterproof. Didn't have any issues at all. Near the end, the servo started getting a little bit twitchy, but I think that's because the battery was running down. I've been running for a good sort of 25-30 minutes by this point. And I've put a new battery in since, and it's not a problem at all. So that servo, I think, was just struggling a bit with the battery running down. And then finally, when I got home, I put it on a little bit of loose sand and that, and again, because it's so light, no problem at all really climbing over the sand. So this would be good on all sorts of terrain. What I am going to do is I'm going to build a little course in the back garden, and I'm going to take this out with the RGT Adventurer, and we're going to put them to the test and see which is best. I think this Hobby Plus is going to be better. The weight distribution is better on the chassis, so it isn't as liable to topple over when it's on an incline, and it's just slightly better geared. The tyres are about the same, different tread patterns, but they're just as soft as each other, so I don't think there'll be a problem with grip. I just think the layout on this one's better with that lower gear as well. Link in the description for this truck, and look out for that video of this versus the RGT. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you next time.